Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to week 3 on the Backdoor cover. My name is Corey Morset, joined as always by future man himself, John Mariano. How are you tonight, John?
I'm terrible. How are you?
I'm a lot better than you because we're looking at the standings here, and I'm looking at my compatriot here who says he traveled through time to get all the games right this week, and he got less than 50% of them right. You finished with 7 picks correct after last week. I had 10, so the current standings are me at 20, 11, and 1. You're trailing behind 14, 17, and 1. So, Mr. Future Man, why don't you explain to all the fine folks out there in YouTube land why you suck so bad at picking football?
So Corey, I don't think you understand how time travel works. First of all,
I really don't. No.
I have to get back in time for the show, so I have limited time. And you did your best to screw me on that by making us go a night early last week.
That's true.
Right? And that's on you.
That's on me.
I still managed to make it to the future, see the games, record the scores, come back. The problem with the way time travel works, I don't know if you know the butterfly effect, but like if you step on a butterfly, it like screws something up.
Mm-hmm.
I made sure I didn't step on the butterfly. Okay. But you've been talking about poutine like it's going out of style. So when I traveled to the future, I actually made some time and I had some poutine. It was delicious. I don't think I was supposed to eat that poutine.
So you're blaming it on poutine now?
No, I'm blaming it on you, right? Like,
right.
If you don't tell me how tasty food is, I'm not going to want to taste it. If I don't taste the food, I don't alter the future and things work out well. Like Christy is saying, I might have screwed up our futures, right? Like the 2020 that I was in, we're going to talk about the Jet game in a little bit, but you joked at me why I would pick the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
And I picked the Jets because in the original future, the real future, Darrelle Revis came out of retirement on Sunday. And he shut down everyone. Like Revis Island was everywhere. It was stopping the running game, the passing game. It was doing things I had never seen Revis Island do when he was younger. And I'm like, oh my God. Like I knew the injuries that were going to happen. Like some of the stuff still happened. After I ate the poutine, I think everything got screwy.
You said some of the things still happened. What still happened from what you saw in this alternate future?
Well, sadly, Saquon Barkley happened, right? Like,
oh, so you just didn't mention it on the show, even though we're both Giants fans? You could have given us a heads up.
So the thing with time travel is, like Doc Emmett Brown says, you don't want to know too much about your own future, right? And I looked at the Giants as too close to home for either one of us. So I definitely didn't want. That's why I rolled with you. I figured like the kid cheating on the test, I'd get one wrong.
Well, you got more than one wrong. You got most of them wrong to the point where somebody flipping a coin would have gotten much more right than you did. Like I can't stress enough how incredibly bad you did. Right, like picking the Jets, picking the Lions, missing on the Saints even. Like you did horrible. So I gave you the benefit of the doubt in week 1 that this whole future thing was going to work out for you. But me just picking on a base knowledge of football is kicking your ass. So I don't know if you're going to travel to the future for this show or if you're just going to try and use a little bit of common sense and maybe try and catch up to me because I'm 6 picks ahead of you.
So because I screwed up the space-time continuum, I considered not screwing it up this week, right? Because I just want things to happen as they should. But I thought about it. And 2020 really sucks. So how much worse can it get?
There you go.
So I did it again.
You did it again. So you know every single pick that we're going to be doing here tonight for the folks?
I will happily tell you what happened in every game.
All right, well, let's get to it again. Just remember, folks, if you're actually betting, I'm doing quite well. John, very much not so. All right, John, Thursday night, we got a great matchup. The Miami Dolphins versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. This one, I think, is actually going to be kind of fun. Who do you like in the Thursday nighter?
Yeah, it's tough because all arrows, like even like future, I bet on Miami. Right before the game, I bet on Miami and I lost.
Yeah,
I lost. So I'm not going to lose again. right? So I got to win my money back plus, right? So I'm already in the hole on this game. So I made sure not to screw anything up on Thursday when Jacksonville wins because I need my money back.
Yeah, and Jacksonville's obviously going to win. Miami put up a good showing against the Buffalo Bills, a much better team. But Jacksonville's been surprising everybody. They're playing loose. They're playing hard. They're looking good. And Minshew on Thursday night with the spotlight on him, I think is going to shine. It's a 3-point spread in that game for Jacksonville. I'm saying take the Jags and the points. John is doing the same. Next up, we have the Las Vegas Raiders taking on the New England Patriots. This is a very tough game. Las Vegas, of course, shocking the New Orleans Saints on Monday night here, beating them by 10 points. New England had a hell of a battle with the Seattle Seahawks, one of the better teams in the NFC. This is a tough game to pick right now. The Patriots favored by 6. Future man, you visited Foxborough, right? Who's winning?
Yeah, this is tough because you want to pick Belichick, right? Coming off a loss. He's angry, right? He's an angry man to begin with. He's so angry that when he puts on his shirts in the morning, he rips the sleeves off because he's so angry. I'm fully convinced that's what happens. The reality is, John Gruden is also kind of an angry fella, right? And he's grumpy and he doesn't want to leave Vegas, right? Like leaving Las Vegas is something nobody ever wants to do. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure that this future holds as well, that Gruden comes in with his team and they hold on tight enough to eke out a cover, but not a flat-out win against this New England team.
This feels like a backdoor cover, doesn't it? We had a couple last week. Of course, Cincinnati was a backdoor cover. New York Giants as well helped us out with a backdoor cover. This feels like one as well. I like the way Waller's playing. I like Josh Jacobs in the backfield. I know you said the Raiders kind of come and go as Derek Carr pleases, but I think they keep this close enough. I say they get within the 6 points, and I don't pick them to win the game necessarily, but I do pick them to cover the spread. So both John and I are on the Raiders bandwagon. Next up, another toughie. We have the LA Rams taking on the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo had a game against Miami. They're favored by 2.5 points here over the LA Rams, who've looked pretty good so far in 2 weeks of the NFL season. John, I'm assuming you went to Buffalo for this one. Who came out on top?
So I did go to Buffalo. I missed the game.
Oh, well, that's not good.
I went to, I don't know if you've ever heard of Anchor Wings, but while I was in Buffalo, I was like,
is that worth going to the future for when you're trying to win a pick 'em pool here on YouTube? Instead, you got some wings.
I mean, when you can move through time and space, this is the problem with it, right? It is sometimes your stomach takes over, right? Like I'm sure there are guys who are like horny and like, oh, I want to go take care of business. I too have my own kind of horniness, but mine is related to food, and I get food horny. So I got within like 20 meters. I guess you measure in meters up there, right? So I got close enough to the stadium that I could smell the food inside, and I thought, why go to the food when I can go out to eat? So I missed the game. But I have a feeling that Buffalo pulled this out because it is hard to travel to the East Coast and play at 10 a.m. your body clock time.
Okay, so you're taking the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
Favored by 2.5. I'm going with the LA Rams. I think they're the better team. Josh Allen, I'm not 100% sold on him. I think Jared Goff maybe has an edge on him. And to me, I always go by matchups, and it's Jalen Ramsey versus Stephon Diggs, and I take Jalen Ramsey all the time. And I can't even give you grief about being food horny because that's kind of my weakness too. I know our buddy Jeff Saunders would be at a car dealership trying to hump a Volvo or something, but you and I, we're going to get wings. I 100% agree with you. Next game, we have the Houston Texans taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers look really good. Texans, not so much. John, what's happening?
So I did go to this game, right? Like I love Pittsburgh. It's a beautiful city. The Three Rivers. It's fall. It's a great time to go visit. The Steelers win this handily. It's Pittsburgh, as you know, is a very difficult place to go and travel. Everything that you've observed about Houston is true. They're an up and down kind of team. They're going to be down again this week.
No word on the humping the Volvo, but you would imagine time traveling would make you hungry. I imagine that's the case as well. Thank you, Hibley, for throwing that in there. Yeah, to me, this is all Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's got one of the best defenses in the league. Houston, they can't move the ball downfield. If only they had a top 5 receiver somewhere. They're hard to come by, but like a DeAndre Hopkins, he would sure help that offense. Just a brain dead move to trade him away. Texans are nothing but an average team to me at this point. I'm going with the Steelers and the 3.5 points in that one. The next one, we're going to keep picking them until they make us right here, John. The San Francisco 49ers traveling back to the horrible turf at MetLife Stadium to take on the New York Giants.
So I want to talk to you a little bit about this game.
Okay, good. I'll just sit back and have a beer.
No. I'm a little distracted with all this time travel. Right, it's exhausting. Right, jet lag is a real thing, and not only was I feeling it, but my compatriots over with the 49ers they wanted to stay in New York, but because of the COVID restrictions, they weren't allowed. They had to fly back. It's a lot of miles, right? Like, it's great for your vacation time because when you're on book a flight, you can. The problem is it's terrible for your endurance, and they just run out of steam. Especially trying to cover Ingram in this game. It's going to be a long day for San Francisco.
I agree. We're talking about the New York Giants offensive line and how they've been underperforming at this point, but they don't have Bosa and Solomon Thomas to worry about this week. It's just basically Eric Armstead. D Ford might even be out. So that's an easier draw for the Giants offensive line for sure. And I think Danny Dimes, even with Saquon Barkley out, we're going to see a little bit of Freeman, see a little bit of Deion Lewis, who looked good last week, maybe a little bit of Wayne Gallman. Darius Slayton could have a big game. This is the week, I think. Frisco is favored by 4.5, so I'm taking the Giants all the way to win outright in that one. The next one, the Tennessee Titans are taking on the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota, one of the biggest disappointments early in the NFL season here, especially this last week. They were horrible all 3 phases. Tennessee favored by 2.5. John, who do you like?
So everyone's down on Minnesota, and going to the future, I know things that people don't know yet. And one of the things I know is you should be down on Minnesota, right? Like, they have the wrong guy at quarterback, right? They have a lot more talent. The running back, the wide receiver, have a lot more talent to give. And if the running back could throw to the wide receiver and the wide receiver could hand to the running back and block for the running back, they would be a better team.
Yeah, things are not good at Minnesota. Like you said, Kirk Cousins, the worst output of any starting quarterback this week. Second worst, I believe, is Tom Brady. So all you Tom Brady apologists could just go away.
We'll get to that guy.
But no, like you said, Kirk Cousins had 117 yards passing and 3 picks. Not good. My buddy, who's a Minnesota Vikings fan, said they're tanking for Trevor. They need a quarterback in Minnesota very bad. Tennessee, very good team. I think Derrick Henry has 200 yards potentially against this defensive front. So, 2.5 points in this one. I'd take Tennessee and the points to stomp all over the Minnesota Vikings. Washington football team is taking on the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland favored by 7 in this one. John, this is kind of a tough one with such a big spread. Who do you like?
So they're absolutely begging you to take Washington in this game, right? They're asking you to look at Washington's performance the first couple of games and going, look at how bad the Browns are, right? We've talked about travel, right? Mm-hmm. Washington's traveling 2 weeks in a row here. And they're not traveling to go to Miami. They're not traveling to go to LA or New York or any place anybody wants to go. They're going to Cleveland. It's going to be a very sad trip for the football team. They're going to be very, very sad going. I think potentially Beckham is going to light them up. Let's just call it what it is, right?
You know what? I like Washington to keep this close. I have no faith in Cleveland to do anything correctly. I think that defensive front in Washington can contain Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. And, they're not that bad in the backfield either. Myles Garrett could have a big game in this one here too. So I'm picking the Washington football team to cover the spread at least, which is currently 7 points in favor of the Cleveland Browns. Let's go next to Cincinnati taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. Joe Burrow visiting the link here. Philadelphia at 0-2 looks very much like an 0-2 team. Not sure why people are still pegging them for the playoffs. Whereas Cincinnati, Joe Burrow's the real deal, but are they going to get everything together in time to take on the Eagles? John, what do you think?
So Philly's a really tough place to go travel to. It's not something I envy Burrow having to do at such a young age. But while I was there, I missed the game. It was Philly cheesesteaks, dude. Like,
Totally get it. Totally.
What do you think I'm doing there? Right?
I hear you.
The bread's second to none. But I'm assuming Mixon goes off in this game. I think that's the story. I think that's what you're looking at. I know you're talking a lot about Burrow. I think everyone in fantasy leagues is sitting there going, I drafted Mixon in my first round and I blew my pick. Mm-hmm. And I honestly think that this is the game where he shows you did not, and you get rewarded for holding him and playing him.
I agree. Philadelphia currently favored by 6.5. That's just way too big. I think even if somehow Philly squeaks out a win, it's only going to be by 2 or 3. So I'm totally on the Bengals bandwagon for this week as well. Joe Mixon, like you said, could have a lights out game against that Philly front. Next up, this is a good one. The Chicago Bears are taking on the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta inexplicably handed Dallas a win last week for no damn good reason, taking on the Chicago Bears, who almost blew it against the New York Giants.
So this was a very awkward game for me. I got very excited because I really wanted to try deep dish pizza.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize where the game was. So I watched it from a bar in Chicago as opposed to watching it live in Atlanta. The pizza was delicious. I was surprised, but I endorse it. Chicago also wins this game.
You think they win it outright?
Chicago wins this game.
Right.
So what happens is Atlanta is coming off the loss from last week. It was really like my kids could have coached a better game than that. There's no explaining how badly this loss affects them. And Chicago, everyone's off this Trubisky train, right? But the thing is, the Trubisky train isn't really like a train. It's just kind of like it's like a show that shows up sometimes and they perform, and then other times they disappoint you and they don't show up. It's like Guns N' Roses in the 80s, right? Like Trubisky's a little bit like Axl Rose.
There you go. Will they play? Will they not? Who knows? Yeah.
Right. And that's exactly what happens is he plays this week. He plays very well.
I'm going to go a little different here. I'm going to think Atlanta maybe takes that awful loss where Dan Quinn should have been fired before he got on the plane. They're going to take that and they're going to motivate themselves from that. And they're going to go out and they're going to beat Chicago. Chicago just doesn't look that good. The defense a little banged up. Mitch Trubisky is Mitch Trubisky. Atlanta just has too much talent to be this bad.
Corey, do you know what Atlanta has in common with me and you?
What?
They watch football.
Ooh. And now that the Falcons know how an onside kick goes, they didn't know on Sunday. That's very true, Hillbilly.
No, they did. They watched the football.
They watched it happen. Yeah, exactly. Still, I got to pick different than you because I'm better than you, so I'm going to go Atlanta in that one. How about the Jets and the Colts? This is maybe the biggest no-brainer of the week. Colts favored by 10.5. Are the Jets going to keep it that close?
So this was funny because as you know, I fucked up. Like Darrell Revis didn't come back.
He did not. No.
He was supposed to.
He's eating Philly cheesesteak right now, probably.
It was very depressing, but clearly, I screwed up time, and the Jet Renaissance is over, and the Colts win this game by 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, the spread is 10.5, and I think the Colts cover it easy. Jets are just awful. Wrong head coach, wrong defensive coordinator. They got Mekhi Becton, and Sam Darnold could be good if he had the right head coach helping him with his development.
Let me ask you something, right? And if I screw up the timeline enough, do you think there's a timeline where the Jets head coach is a decent coordinator on any level?
Man, you're going to have to screw it up a lot. You're going to have to have sex with the queen. You're going to have to do all sorts of stuff. You really fucked that timeline up good because, I don't see it happening. Everyone says take the Colts in that one. How about the Carolina Panthers at the LA Chargers? Chargers made a great game out of it against the Chiefs. Justin Herbert's going to get his second start confirmed here today. Carolina Panthers without Christian McCaffrey. John, I know you're a big McCaffrey fan. Do the Panthers have a shot in this one? The current line is Chargers by 7.5.
So the story that you're not talking about is how good this Chargers running game and defense are.
Mhm.
And Carolina has no answers for either one of those things. And Herbert can be, and he probably will be, not necessarily pedestrian, but it'll seem like he takes a step back this week. He takes a step back because he doesn't have to work as hard, right? And that's exactly what this is. Chargers win this handily.
Yep, I agree. Even with the 7.5 points, Chargers a whole new offense behind Justin Herbert, and I get it. You know, teams don't have a lot of film on Herbert yet. Once they do, they're going to be able to game plan a little more effectively. But yeah, Carolina doesn't have anything. I don't think that can compete with LA in this one. Take the Chargers and the points. Next up, the Detroit Lions taking on the Arizona Cardinals. This is a no-brainer for me. I'm going Cardinals, even with the 5.5 point spread. Nobody can defend Kyler Murray right now, and certainly not anybody on Detroit. They cover 5.5 easy. John, what do you say?
So again, the story of this week is going to be running backs, right? And the best running back on the field is Drake. And everyone's preparing for Murray, and what no one's expecting is Drake runs roughshod over the Lions Sunday. So I'm with you on the pick, but against you on the reason.
Okay, when Murray has 100 yards rushing and DeAndre Hopkins has 100 yards receiving, I'll accept your apology. Next up, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Tom Terrific taking on the Denver Broncos and whoever is backing up Drew Lock. Right now, the Bucs are favored by 6, but the Broncos didn't look too bad, even with the backup quarterback in there. This is at Mile High, where you know that travel could come into play a little bit here. Who do you like in this one?
So let me ask you something. We've talked extensively about Brady being done, right? And it annoys one of our fellow podcasters, Mark
Yes, it does.
Kamaya, right? Like he's a big homer. He's got a big boner for Brady, and I respect that. I respect that for many reasons, especially because he doesn't play for your team anymore.
Yeah,
Brady's not the story here, right? This Tampa Bay defense is the real deal, right? Like in leagues, I picked up the Broncos defense thinking they were going to be one of the stories of the season. I'm wrong. Right, I'm wrong because I've seen it in action. I've seen it in action in Mile High, and the Bucs go on the road and cover a touchdown spread.
I believe you. Like you said, Tom Brady is not the story. Tom Brady is horribly pedestrian. 217 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Nothing to write home about. But like you said, that defense is for real. So is that running game. When you got Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette running as well as they are, they're going to carry the Buccaneers to a lot of wins. They're going to be a 10-win team, but it's not going to be because of Tom Brady. It's going to be the pieces around him helping prop him up because he is looking very, very old. He's very slow. Decision-making is completely shot. Old noodle arm. Can't get it more than 20 yards downfield.
I mean, I want to defend Tom Terrific here. There are plenty of times where I walk in a room and I forget why I walk in there. And we're about the same age.
Yeah.
So he's probably walking onto the field and forgetting why he's there.
Yeah, no, and I'm not really bashing Tom either. I'm just saying everybody who thinks he's the savior of Tampa is 100% wrong. Just look at the film. Just watch an actual football game. Tampa is going to be very good, though, and they are going to beat Denver this week.
And also be over 40 and understand what it's like to forget why you walk into a room.
Oh, God, yeah. Like, I'll turn off the computer, walk 10 feet, and not know what the hell I was doing 10 minutes before. Like, I totally get it. I'm over 40 myself.
I'm still football, please.
I'm still much better at football picks than you, my friend. Dallas Cowboys taking on the Seattle Seahawks. Dallas, everybody's back on that bandwagon. Let's get him in the Super Bowl, right? Very average team. Defense played like absolute utter crap. I don't know if I'd be picking Dallas again at all this year. Going into Seattle, who is just a much, much, much better team. Seattle is favored by 4.5. Seattle covers easy.
I don't know if you watched the Seattle game this week, Corey.
I watch parts.
But they hit hard.
Yes.
Right? That defense hits hard. Mm-hmm. And as much as Dallas has the weapons, right? Like they have on paper, their offensive weapons are second to none. Right? They go three wide receivers deep. They have a workhorse running back. They have a quarterback with a cannon for an arm. And Seattle's one of the few teams that has answers every step of the way for this team.
Yep.
And going into Seattle, crowd or no crowd, 12th man or no 12th man, it's a hard place to travel to.
So you're picking the Seattle Seahawks in this one?
Yeah.
Yep. So am I. Dallas, like you said, everything you said was true, including the quarterback with the big arm. Unfortunately, he cannot win the big game. Never has been able to. Even in week 1, was unable to do it, right? Needed a really BS onside kick to win in week 2. I think Seattle just kind of steamrolls them. They're going to put up maybe 25 points, but Seattle's going to get 40. Russell Wilson may be playing better than any quarterback in football right now. Like he was dropping dimes all week on Sunday.
We might be. He is.
Yeah. No, you're exactly right. I would put him right there. So the next game, the Green Bay Packers taking on the New Orleans Saints. New Orleans embarrassed on Monday night by the Las Vegas Raiders. Green Bay has put up 40 points or more in their first 2 games, but they were against Detroit and Minnesota. So what does that really tell you at this point in the season? This could be a good close game. New Orleans is favored by 3.5. I'm assuming you went to the Mercedes-Benz Dome in New Orleans and checked this one out.
I absolutely did. I see. The problem with New Orleans is I go there. I want to enjoy the food, but I'm allergic to shellfish, right? And crayfish are like the big thing to do there. So I skipped out. I watched the game. It was a fun game. The Saints are mad. The Saints are mad this week. They're angry, and they play that game angry. And Aaron Rodgers doesn't do well with angry teams, right? He also doesn't do well in domes, and that shows.
He doesn't do well against teams with a good pass rush, which New Orleans has. So I'm with you. I'm taking the Saints and the 3.5 points. This is a really important game for New Orleans. If they fold up in this one and get steamrolled by Green Bay, that could be a bad sign for their season. But I think they respond with a big game. Maybe Michael Thomas is back. Even if he's not, I think Drew Brees, who did not look good on Monday night, comes back with a big win against the Green Bay Packers. And our final game, and probably the best game of week 3, the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Baltimore Ravens. As we speak, John, the Ravens are favored by 3. Who do you like in this marquee matchup?
So this is a very tough pick if you don't see the game. The Baltimore defense looks like it's the best squad in football at this point. Mm-hmm. The quarterback has outplayed Mahomes step by step this year. They have all the pieces. The reality is Kansas City came out flat last week because they were preparing for Baltimore this week. Mm-hmm. They were overlooking last week's game, and that's what you saw. And they still were there, right? They still show up when they need to. And Kansas City wins this game this week in Baltimore.
I am with you. I think Kansas City wins too for a lot of the same reasons. You know how I mentioned Dak Prescott, not a big game quarterback? Patrick Mahomes is, and maybe the best big game quarterback in the world right now. And this is a big game. Kansas City wants to put their stamp on being the best team in the AFC, in the NFL for that matter. Baltimore has cruised the first 2 weeks, men amongst boys, didn't even really have to try. They're going to have to try this week. This is their first really tough matchup. Whereas KC had a pretty tough matchup last week with the LA Chargers. I'm picking Kansas City to win this one outright. So we picked a lot the same this week, John, which kind of worries me. When you were in the future, did you screw anything up? Did you fart on anything that's going to screw up the timeline? Or
so I got to be honest with you. I can tell you now. I looked at your picks in the future.
Oh yeah,
I did. So my strategy this week was if I'm going down, you're going down, bud.
Perfect. So I'm going to get 4 wins this week. Is that what I'm hearing?
I'm hoping. Like a couple that I went different stick, and my really all I did was I watched our show.
Oh, there you go. I'm going to go have another beer then. I'm pretty depressed now that I'm going to do so bad in week 3. But the NFL is still going to be well worth the watch in week 3. Tons of great games. John, is there any, aside from the Monday Nighter, which is going to be an instant classic, I think, any games on the schedule this week that you're excited about?
The Monday Nighter?
I said aside from the Monday Nighter.
Well, I just wanted to make sure I reiterated it. I'm actually really excited about the Rams going to Buffalo. Mm-hmm. I want to see what Allen's made out of, and I feel like that's one of those games where he shows it, right? Or he doesn't. And also Houston going to Pittsburgh, right? This Pittsburgh defense looks like it's real, but they're starting to get tested now. They're a couple of weeks in. Offenses are coming in that can move the ball, right? And I know we're talking about the receiver leaving, but that Houston offense still has enough weapons to test the defense.
Mm-hmm.
So that, and seeing if the Giants can continue their journey to the first round number 1 pick.
There you go. Those are good picks. I'm also looking forward to Miami and Jacksonville on Thursday night. That's tomorrow. I think that game is going to be a lot of fun. You got 2 young head coaches who like to mix things up and have some fun. So it could be a good one. I'm looking forward to the Raiders at the Patriots. I want to see what the Raiders are made of. And going into Foxborough to take on any Bill Belichick team is a good litmus test of where you are in terms of your team's development. And I'm really excited to see the Cardinals because I'm turning into a big Kyler Murray fan. He's really, really impressive.
I just want to point out to our audience that the thing that you find, one of the things you find most exciting about this week is a game featuring a guy named Gordon.
That's right. With a really kick-ass mustache, I might add. John, anything else before we let the folks go this week?
Yeah. Tune in next week to see how I screw up time travel again.
And to see me get 3 right, apparently. I'm not looking forward to that at all. But on behalf of John Mariano, my name is Corey Morissette. Thank you very much for joining us. Remember, I'm beating John by 6 points as of right now. And we will see you next week on Backdoor.